Os dije que iba a protegeros, ¿verdad? Pero he cambiado de idea. Mucho más práctico torturaros.
What's up, people? Welcome back to another proactive show, episode 2. Peter, we're gaining political mileage, you know? Tumefika episode 2, manze.
Maze, ni kama tumeanza, ni kama mwanasiasa. Kwa na vote ya kwanza, amesha convince mse wa pili.
Yeah, and we're here, episode 2. Today is just gonna be amazing. We are deciding to grow our team, manze. We felt like tukiongea si wawili tutakuwa tuna agenda fulani. And so we've decided to push this agenda to
two-thirds
you know, inclusivity of everyone. And so on the show we have someone today representing someone else. Mi acha nikuambie hii show mtakuwa tu mnasikia tu vitu crazy. Hivyo ndio tuko. Kuna mtu leo amekuja kurepresent mtu mwingine. But sitasema mob. I'll let her introduce herself. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
What's your name?
My name is Tamia.
Tamia, tell us about yourself.
What would you like to know about me?
Wewe wacha. Juze nika unauza sera zako.
I think the thing that is relevant to this show is that I am a law student, so
Okay.
I am well versed with what's happening on the legal sector.
All right. Like ati for this show. Atumindingi pia ukisema kama umeoa uko na watoto na kwa nini unajali watoto wa Kenya, you know.
No, I'm just a citizen of Kenya, and because I am a law student, and at the end of it all, I intend on being part of the decision makers, people who make the law. This is relevant for me.
So yeah, karibu sana Tamia.
Thank you.
Umeamua tuseme tu au umekataa kusema maneno mengine, umekuja kujenga Kenya.
Yeah, only the relevant parts.
Sawa. Ni important. Ile siku tutafika kuongea juu ya siasa na familia tutakuita bado. Tusikie maoni yako. Peter.
Yep.
Tamia. Leo tutaongea juu ya reggae. Tumeimba nobody can stop reggae. Reggae shall not be stopped. Anyway. So mapozo mnanipea. Mna jokes. But anyway, today we're going to tackle the BBI report. I mean, it's there. It's here. It's happening now. We need to talk about it. And I mean, people are very divided about it.
Yes.
So there's already a report.
I
mean, what's all with this referendum?
Napenda venye ume
Like, sijiko unaniget.
I hear you.
In the sense that before corona ingie, politicians have been going around to collect. What were they collecting? Wakienda ma study, all that stuff wana collect.
Mele kwa tunasikia tu reggae.
So sio ndo wana collect report. So there isn't any report so far. Ama hiyo draft walitoa hiyo ndio report.
Hivyo ndio mnajaribu kusema. Sasa unataka tuanzie mwanzo kabisa.
Exactly.
Tuanzie story kutoka mwanzo.
Exactly. Huwezi panda mti katikati. Huwezi panda.
Na mimi unanijua, mimi ni Mchina by the way. Mimi naweza kapandia kato, unapata lishatoaga matunda zote hapa na zisip tu kutoka chini. Wewe unadhani unaona fruits huko juu. But anyway, go ahead. Tuambie kenye unajaribu kutuambia.
So mimi nasema if tunasema ni report, there's no any report so far. What we have ni a draft in wali launch at the Bomas. The draft, the report bado itatolewa. Hata niseme hivyo in my own opinion.
Okay.
I don't know.
Tamia na feel nikako ready kusema kitu tofauti. Kwa tu akingoja kusikia anakupiga zile za what?
Anashangaa boya anasema yuko ni simple.
Chora draft ama chora report. What's happening? What's bothering you?
Yeah, but in my opinion, what was presented to us in document form is the report. Because if you read the document, they say that they have collected information from the youths and the Kenyans in general, and based on the information that they got, they wrote that report. So the BBI report is that which we have.
So what are these politicians doing wakitembea? The last one was in Nakuru ama ilikuwa wapi before the corona?
They're trying to get our support such that ndo tukienda referendum to vote for it ama we vote against it.
So they're not collecting.
Yeah, so walishachukua apparently anyway, because I wasn't asked my opinion when they were collecting. But yeah, what they want is for us to support it.
Tamia na mauchungu zake hazikuchukuliwa hiyo time. Alikuwa na vitu kadhaa za kuongezea.
Law school kutuuliza, but oh well.
Oh, from the legal representation and the okay, I hear you. So ideally we agree what they have done is drafted, so the implementation is yet to happen because they have to ask,
we have to vote for it,
we have to vote for its
yeah.
implementation, and whether or not tuko for it ama tuko against it tuseme. Manze mnajaribu kuniambia tunarudi tena kwa mastori za mama chungwa na mama ndizi. Yeah. Is that what we are doing? Is that where we are about to go?
That's what we are doing,
that's basically where we are about to go again.
Yeah.
Like okay, at least hiyo ilikuwa ya constitution, wacha niache kuisema hivyo, but tunarudi tu hiyo season tena.
Yeah. But yet it's sort of like it's similar because it's an implementation to our current constitution.
Okay, so Peter,
yep.
Unaambia Zach mwenye anaga hata voters ID arudi tena asikize ase wakiongea juu ya report.
Kwanza report yenyewe hata haiko clear, it's ni vague. In my own opinion, so far mi naona the constitution we have haijako implemented fully. Apart from that, kuna reports kadhaa zimetolewanga. By the way, all task forces, all commissions in Kenya, tumekuwa na over 10 commissions and task forces zenye zimepatiwa every president tushaikwa nayo asha constitute more than even one task force or commission. Zienquire things zenye you wonder mbona hizo zingine the previous reports hazijawahi kuwa fully implemented. So mimi najaribu kusema ni our constitution haijakuwa fully implemented.
Okay.
Na tunajaribu ku add another thing on top of it. All this thing inaleta tu chaos and confusion. So BBI it's just for chaos and confusion. To confuse mwananchi.
Another fueled propaganda by few individuals to gain political mileage. Hey, umechokoza watu. Wako ready ku clap back.
I agree. I agree that it is a bit confusing, and I agree that the constitution has not been implemented fully. I still feel like BBI should be implemented, because at the end of it all, it is still beneficial to Kenyans, and there's no guarantee that if we don't implement it, the constitution will be implemented.
Hiyo ndio pali tuna disagree na wewe, mtu wangu. Because I feel and he brought a serious point that I have been battling with the whole week. There have been previous reports from the way things have been played out in this country. From the previous reports, it's always taxpayers money inakulwa pesa ya Mkenya. So wanangojea tu allowances zao. Wengine hata walikuwa daring, walikuwa naitisha ma extension manze, wanasema hatujamada bado, na wao ndio wanajiita ma expert, wanatupatia timeline alafu wanasema chilini bado hatujafanya ya kutosha. Nani so watu wanafeel nika bado tunaendelea tu kukula. But ideally ile kitu yenyewe imeandikwa pale kwa constitution ndio haimplementiwi. Like tukiongea sasa una checking the battle between the executive, the judiciary and the system zimepotea manze. Thank you manze, nilikuwa niwaite sijui the Senate manze, nilikuwa shindo what nina load manze. But you've seen they've never worked together. Wamekotua kiwa kila mmoja na fight mwingine mpaka wana threaten each other on TV. Hadi tuna hit below the belt, tunaanza kuleta sijui familia zao into the picture. And so hii report for a Kenyan, for me, for wasi wengi, ni amse fulani tu apate political mileage yake, aseme amefanya kitu kubwa Kenya, angoje 2022 aitishe kura, aseme venye nilikuja nikajaribu kuimplement. Mark you, the people doing this in 2017 had promised us that they would implement a previous report and not write a new one. manze Peter unajuanga mimi sipendangi kutaja watu sitakagi kujieka
Unaogopa.
mimi sitakagi kutaja watu but you know same thing happened last time. A report was there and one of their political like pillars in what they said they would change the country, like what they would do for the country is implement the previous reports. Fast forward umsana kama anaanza kutusho sasa I'm writing a new one. What has changed?
In my opinion, there is no problem with the system. Oh, okay, there's a problem. No. The problem is not the system. The problem is the people running the system.
Oh, even though
that is what I mean. Yes, there is no problem with the system itself. There is no problem with the fact that the legislature, judiciary, and
the executive.
The executive, yeah. There is no problem with the fact that they are separated. In fact, it is constitutional that there's separation of powers. They handle different things, But at the end of it all, there's no problem with the constitution. There's no problem with the previous reports. There's no problem with BBI. The issue is the people running it. So maybe we can focus on changing. Okay, at the end of it all.
What do you mean ukisema there's no problem na BBI?
There's no problem with BBI. I have read the document. That's what I mean. I have read it. And because I have read it, I am aware that the things that have been written
tutafika kwa point ya kusoma. Wacha usiwe na haraka. Tuko na 9.
Okay, yes.
Hii document tuna make sure by the time tunatoka hii show tukienda mtaani kila mtu anapushiwa hiyo kwa WhatsApp tunawapushia kama ni hizo 9 points tutawawekea kama ni the full report tutawa-highlightia. Tutarudi hapa tukae chini tui-highlight yote.
Yeah. But
Hiyo sio shida
let me
yetu.
state my point.
Okay.
Like my point is the problem is the people running it.
Okay.
And we can say that, we will vote these people out and we will vote new people in. But we have seen all through when we... Am I allowed to mention names?
Just mention.
Okay, mimi peke yangu sitajangi majina kwa sababu
just kizi utakuwa sued for defamation.
Manze defamation.
Kama kuna evidence.
Unacheki hata ikitokea kwa CCTV bana.
All through, let me give an example. When we had the colonialists, then Jomo Kenyatta came in to save Kenyans. When he came, did he really save Kenyans? Because at the end of it all, he I don't know if he was a lesser evil or... but at the end of it all, he is still an evil.
Mi usema gani? My mouth.
Yeah.
Lakini kuna watu sitataja majina na feeling ni kama walikuwa tu puppets, walikuwa tu wana control wana.
Yeah, but still at the end of it all, we've seen it before. Leaders who come in as good leaders, the ones who come from humble backgrounds, tunaona they'll defend us. Wanaenda uko wanakula pesa zetu. The issue isn't that the systems aren't there. We have Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission. What is it doing?
Sure, I agree with you. So we are agreeing that the drivers on the seat are the bad drivers. And we have a problem where every time they will sell themselves as saints, get to the helm and become the devil himself.
I agree.
So there's something wrong with the system that we have in terms of the arms of government. Are these people pulled into it? Ama ni venye wanakuwaga wamevalia ngozi ya kondoo wakikaa kuitisha kura alafu wanatugeuka.
Maybe it's human nature, I don't know.
So hata ukiingia huko pia utageuka. Hivyo ndo unasema juu ni human nature.
Tumeona like what church elders. We've seen them. So were they pretending all their lives then?
Normalize such behavior.
My question is, were they pretending all this time ndo wakifika hapo, greed ikawakula?
Look,
can you give me an example of someone who has been a good leader all through?
I'm gonna be proactive. Nimecheki Kenya nimefanya hapo kwa hiyo but we can go ahead and have an issue with all these people, but we need to think about now if this is the case. Kama hapa ndio tumefika. Peter anasema hii report hata sio report. Mimi si feel.
Kwanza you guys mnasema ati there's nothing wrong, like the drivers ndio wako baya hapo hivyo.
Yeah.
Me in my own opinion, both the drivers and the bus, it's
bus.
metaphorical.
That's the thing.
It's a metaphor.
Yeah.
Both the drivers and the bus imechapa. Unacheki.
I mean,
imechapa, the dere pia.
Kama basi imechapa,
this is what I'm
I
trying
hear
to say.
what Peter is saying. This is what kiasi Peter before once niseme tu kitu moja. Peter is saying there've been previous vehicles that have been made to steer this thing towards this cohesion that we are looking for as a country, and they have never started. And these people have built a new brand, repainted it and made it look like, yeah, definitely this one will work, and then put themselves as drivers. So you, on the other hand, says all these cars have been working properly from the
They would have worked
constitution,
properly-
but
properly
the driver
if they
is
were
the only
driven
bad
well,
thing.
yes.
But let's move
the
away
bullying-
now from the fight and figure out if, and I'm saying if, the car is bad and the driver is bad, what needs to happen?
That's a very good question, but hata nimeke kitu clear kwanza before ni kujibu.
Okay.
The reason why nasema both the bus and the driver ni mbaya ni
Yeah.
right now EBBI imekuwa proposed ama watu wali, the president is the one who aliform your task force
With the right
na brother
honorable.
yake, with his brother with his brother. Now the thing is Gava imekuwa accused of so many things.
Sure.
For example, ijakuwa ikirespect some court orders, like so many things government ijakuwa ikifanya.
Yeah.
Hawa say so ndo wame for me BBI task force that imetuletea some recommendations. One of them being that people don't respect the constitution and the rule of law. So how again would expect mse mwenye ajakuwa kirespect whatever all through imekuwa ajakuwa kirespect the constitution, yes sasa ndio afunze wase now to respect
All of a sudden, you know, I mean,
like
I haven't been respecting the
mtu
constitution,
amedestroy tena again unataka aje a build.
and then here I write you a book that will respect the constitution and I want you to follow it. You get?
I get.
So that's the biggest issue, and that's why I'm shifting the conversation and saying, okay, what can we do as Kenyans? Does it mean, is there a point where an independent body fully led by individuals and citizens of the country work out a plan or a report on their own?
Timo,
Work
our
out
hands,
a
our hands
system.
as citizens are not tied. We have so many avenues to do. Like, if only everyone would respect the constitution. The thing here ni constitution ndio kitu tuna rely on it.
Okay.
It's the only thing we rely on it. If both the executive, legislature were respect
And
the rule of law,
Yeah.
vile wa implement everything fully, then everything itakuwa poa. Hata nipate example. Actually, the main reason BBI ili come into place was because of kutoelewana kisiasa after the elections. One person anasema ameshindwa, mwingine anasema
Which has always been there.
yeah, actually all these commissions zimekuwa formed after every election. There's nothing unique about this.
It's true.
This is a deja vu. Tumekuwa kwa this situation from
92,
to 7 every
97.
time tumekuwa, this is something imekuwa nini. So it's kitu inaendelea every now and then. There's nothing new about it.
Right.
But the only thing new about this one ni it's for political mileage.
Ni mileage watu wao, ni mileage.
Yeah, unacheki.
Wacha nisikie Luisa anataka Tami anataka kusema kitu.
Okay,
Nimeanza
I
kuuza
agree,
jina
I
zote
agree,
mbili.
I agree that BBI seems to have like political mileage as the main agenda, and it's true.
For sure.
Like that's what it seems, because it's being pushed by people who will buy next year. Okay, not next year, 2022.
Yeah.
It's being pushed by those people who
2020 to write off the COVID. So go to South ukisema next.
I mean,
2020 to write off mazee.
yeah, I agree that it seems that it is pushing a political mileage, and that's a fact, yes. But at the end of it all, will we focus on preventing these people from pushing their agenda, or will we focus on what's more beneficial to Kenyans, like which is the lesser evil?
In other words, we should sweep all these things under the carpet.
huyu ni mwanasiasa kabisa, yani mawakili anatuambia tu kuna shetani kadhaa, hizi shetani ni mingi, zote ni mashetani, fanyeni hivi, chagueni yenye tu sio shetani sana, mwenye ako na pembe kidogo.
If we do nothing about it, these people will still have political mileage, even if we decide not to vote in BBI. Bado atakuwa nayo, but at the end of it all, reading the BBI yes, it is beneficial to Kenyans, and that's what I'll keep saying. It is beneficial to Kenyans.
So can we push it from a point where we read the report, but we're not reading for its implementation, but reading from a point of we can actually ask these people to go back to the drawing board and do it better. The one of the fights mimi niko nayo ni ase venye COVID-19 come into the picture and the rally stopped, nothing is being done about it. Like there is no sensitization, there is no study, where actually people are now at home jobless, where they could actually work towards this unity. Nothing is being done for the unity of Kenyans, and that's my biggest problem. Hii report ilikuwa tu ya mtu individual. How then, from a legal point, do we shift these conversations from these drivers and this bad bus and we make our own as Kenyans? Pali tunasema, yeah, I agree, I've been looking at my neighbor differently. Like there was a point, alikuwa my friend, tungecheza kalongo, tucheze ball, to do everything, but now I'm starting to see them from a different angle. How can I prepare my future son and daughter not to do such things and see everyone? I mean, as much as people want to say Tanzanians have worked out a way, despite of it being with its ups and downs, like that's a story for another day, they have their unity. Like you can't touch them. Even when they go back to look on Danny, they still have their unity, manze, as one. How can we change this conversation from political mileage to actually building our country where it's united without individuals? Because as we said before, tuanze tu tulikuwa tunaongea nikamwambia, I don't feel like 1 or 2 or 14 people should be the ones implementing it after we vote. I feel like it's a point like they are only there as people who would champion it, and they shouldn't champion from a point of mileage.
Namekwambia tutakubali BBI kusema.
That's the thing. I mean, mimi nimewaambia tunaisoma, atuisomi ndio tu vote. Tunaisoma ndio tujitengeneze yenye inafikia watu wetu. Sio ati inafikia.
Hakuna kitu cha kutengeneza timu. Hakuna kitu cha kutengeneza nini?
Okay.
We have everything in place
With the constitution.
With the constitution, even the previous task forces.
Okay.
Akina Krigla, Waki Commission, all those hizo commission zote zimekuwa hapo hivyo, and zote zimekuwa zikitupwa. So mi sioni anything new about nini. For example, acha pia nikupatia another example. BBI inatoa inapatiana some recommendations on areas, let's say let me pick corruption for example.
Okay.
That with all these commissions and niseme government bodies zimekuwa pewa mandate ya ku prosecute, yani ku fight corruption, they should be wakali kiasi, wanafaa wakwe hasha, such stuffs. I mean, these are things zenye ziko hapo. For example, when someone is accused of misappropriating funds, anapelekwa court, anapelekwa through the legal system vizuri, but kuna watu wana interfere with it. Unacheki? Whether with BBI or not, wakati the constitution haikui respected, wakati decisions hazikui made firm na the beings zinasimamiwa hivyo vile zimesemwa, tutakuwa tukizidi tu kuongelea this thing. After BBI, by the way, there will be another commission itakuwa set.
Definitely. I mean, nangoja tu, okay, wait, manze, we're trying to be proactive and change the lives of people. Ndio kusikwe na report ingine. So let's be notice Kenya tumesema hapo, nilikuwa naenda tu kusema tunangoja report ingine pia 2022. Manze, acha niache kwa hivyo. Tamia.
I feel like one issue that is being brought forward is the fact that BBI is being pushed by political figures. So at the end of it all, if we vote for it, we're not really voting for it. We're just voting for a certain political figure.
Which is true.
And yes, we could start an independent commission. But you see, this is a fact. It is a fact, but it's actually a fact.
Wakili akiongea tu najua anaenda. Hata nikwambie wakili akikwambia this is a fact, jua endi kusema kitu poa, anaenda tu kuambia kitu mbaya.
This is a fact. The reality of Kenya might even be the reality of the world. And it was said by Nancy Baraza and she was removed. You should know people. By the way, she was my lecturer and she was amazing and I love her.
Hapana, lakini alituambia vibaya mbona
but it is a fact.
Mimi usinichune mapua.
Fine. But that is something that I have thought about a couple of times and I believe it to be a fact.
That you should know people.
Yeah, not yeah, actually yes. because
So you are comfortable in a space where 1% would thrive and
no, it's not about
have
it's not
this
about
form
being comfortable.
of- okay.
I'm just stating it as a fact such that if we want to change it we can, but as at now it is a fact. As at now it is a fact.
Na hii ndio haja hii show, tunataka kubadilisha. Hatutaki kusema kwa ground
Yeah.
venye vitu ziko. Tunataka kuchange vitu kwa ground.
But we see
you must
before
know
to change
history.
lazima tuambie watu ground inakaaje.
Kwa ground
So
kuna
kwa
kaje.
ground
Okay.
you must know people for you to go anywhere. So
Sure.
at the end of it all, even if we start these independent commissions, the people running it most likely will have some sort of affiliation with the political figures.
Okay.
You see, I am a university student. You see, we start in first year. We're just normal people. We don't know people. Eventually, we become popular. Then by the time we are vying to become like chairman or I'm a lady, so chair ladies of our schools.
No, we are being gender sensitive nowadays.
Fine,
Chairperson. Thank you.
Yes, but see Kenya bado tukisema lady atatupeleke anywhere. But you see, we see that when people start vying for political seats in schools, politicians start approaching them because they know that they have influence. See, these people start off as innocent students. We just, we want to change their school, but at the end of it all, because you need sponsorship. You see, even in school, politicians buy us things for us to vote for them because they are getting sponsorship from.
Huyu ako UN lakini I mention names.
I mean, we don't need to mention the obvious. Yes, you see, but at the end of it all, even if those who start innocently end up having some political affiliation, so we can come together as citizens and we want this one to head this, but how sure are we that this person will have the integrity to refuse to get money from the people who want to champion this agenda?
I hear you and tuna agree kwa grao vitu ni mbaya.
Yeah.
Tunakupata like tunajua kuna ule mwenye ingia roho safi anataka kubadilisha. Unajua kama ule mse wa Meru alikuja kama anatembea na bike akitafuta kura zake, next thing amenunuliwa Prado. Huo mse ni inclination alikuwa anatafutiwa ajue analin side gani. I get what you're saying, but now we are saying but this shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
We need to think how we are going to do things. Is this independent body something that is like we need to look at the bigger picture? Who needs to be at the helm of championing this? Kenya is full of religious sects, like sorry to call them sects, but organizations, like people who would take a role and who have people who come every Sunday and they would sensitize them on why we should be doing this. Kenya has people who have media influence, like the pillars that should be taken. Like a government shouldn't be having like a big proportion of this part when it comes to doing such a thing as this report is trying to do. Building a bridge is never left to one person, right? There's everyone who picks up their role, but all of a sudden the one who is here who drew the plan ndio anataka kuoneshana ni kama yeye ndio alifanya kazi yote. Hiyo ndio factor yenye mimi niko na shida nayo sahi venye mnasema. Like for sure hata hatufai kwa tuna build a bridge through this. Like the constitution should be, like as Peter is saying, the constitution should be something that is as clear enough as possible to make sure. And I know there's parts where we haven't, like ethos, like ethics, what we're talking about. I mean, corruption, we can't even handle it on its own. There's a new conversation that we came up with, devolution, which is not being pushed. Everybody's still trying to squeeze into one city, and when there's a lot of resources out there. So the conversation from here, sisi tukiongea, is what should we do? Remember, Zach doesn't have a voting card bado. Yeah, feel kai kitu ni necessary kwake. So how do we make Zach, not even before hata apate hii voting card, I get into this conversation aseme wase hata hii report tuna need to work together to implement hizi vitu zote zenye zimekuwa before us na kuiondokea wase specific. How do we move that? How do we move your leaders when they come to elections being influenced by such things? Is it a point where you have a stance as the students themselves and say, hey, umze akikuja tusikia kona any political affiliation akiran for governance ya shule and I need to step down kwa sababu hakuwa independent, alikuwa influenced by other individuals for other gains and not the gains of the people? That's the conversation I feel like should be for now. Because I feel like, I mean, the report is good. All the other reports have been good. The constitution is the best. But this is being done for individuals. Come on. where do we start the conversation from? How do we move forward from here? Because trust me, tunaweza kaka hapa to hii show, tuzushiane, tuambiane, to agree na vitu, to disagree na vitu zingine, but at the end of the day, there's a divide in the country. How do we move from the divide and stop putting our inclinations on individuals and start working together as a country? Because the moment we drain the power from these people and take it back to our hands, manze, is when we'll start making a difference. Right now, we agree you should know people. So there's actually a 1% mahali
That you should know.
that you should know if you want to do something in this country. But now, the conversation should change from a point of, and I feel like this is a whole world issue. It's not even like a Kenyan problem peke yake. How do we move that? Because now we need to move back to the power to the youth. How do we go about it? Okay, hold that thought. We're going to take a musical break and then we're going to come back and we're going to tackle a bit more on this matter.
Yeah, nikawa napiga picha ya ID, hawa smile ni kubaya ai, wanacheza bano na macadamia na salafu wanalienja ignorance, walitucheka etinika tumechanganikiwa ka pudding, upuzi mazuri haitoki kwangu kano kia 3310 even na bluetooth darasa nilikuwa na kabak Kenya imechange ni shofa bado na kabak left ukweli ni boring boy mbona mbongi angusha jiwe juu ya mkono tujue nani first body tumechoose kupuuza opinion inatupunguza kelele necessary ni ambulance zingine hatusikini nuisance zitaendeshwa na nani kasi sisi zitanunuliwa na nani kasi sisi tutabadilishwa na nani kasi sisi simanishi mwingine ni wewe na wewe na mimi 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 hatutaki ni kiatu si black wanaidharau eti si wax tukiwa kwa streets tuna beatbox but the present ni kichana na una locks wana expect ni waombe fair nisaidie na blue dude nywele yako si refu ya ponytail shuka matuta tu waliniambia nikawajibu si settle for less man na dan kwa rims ya success nipite hata bila height ya Scottie Pippen nina mentality ya Rosa Parks kwa bus kwa kiti sitoki kasi sisi sioni relax ka nywele imepakwa dax nini wewe zitaendeshwa na nani kasi sisi zitanunuliwa na nani kasi sisi kutabadilishwa na nani kasi sisi simanishi mwingine ni wewe na wewe na mimi wewe na wewe na mimi ninasema wewe na wewe na mimi wewe na wewe na mimi siachi mpaka nchi inipatie number plates za red siachi mpaka sheng iwe international language nasema siachi mpaka hell iwe vacant highway ya heaven kuwe na jam mama hauna position education I could make less na sisitiza growth hisi composition nina rhyme mwisho wa sentence nijibu boss kuku ina mabawa kaa mwewe mbona inashinda chini na mawe siogopi hell nagopa kufika heavens jakamua Kenya mola nitarajia hii dunia kutegemea mali nikakuteka maji ukiitumia gunia vision za kuswim kwa ocean hii papa imefugwa kwa aquarium papas C4 walls za church stadium status na nani kasi sisi zitanunuliwa na nani kasi sisi tutabadilishwa na nani kasi sisi simanishi mwingine ni wewe na wewe na mimi wewe na wewe na mimi ninasema wewe na wewe na mimi wewe na wewe na mimi
in my own opinion, I think what we should do ni first of all we need to understand what imekuwa happen in the past to relate now what saizi tuko now, which is BBI, and then we can from there we can make a master plan of chenye tunafaa tufanye in future or going forward. And the main problem our country has been having, to be honest, ni elections, divisive elections.
For sure.
The entire, apart from like BBI hata yenyewe, the task force ililetwa juu ya elections, and so hiyo stories ni wameadd corruption and the other 9 points, hizo points zingine wameleta was just to make it appear that walikuwa na kitu kubwa walikuwa wanafanya, like kujaza 2 pages in my own opinion, but the main thing they had to tackle was elections. And in their report wametupatia some solutions or recommendations, including kukuwa na PM, prime minister mwenye anakuwa appointed with the president and such stuff. Basically ni ku enlarge to the executive arm of the government. That's what they're recommending, right? From where I sit nikiona hii stuff ni the main problem is elections. And so after every election kuna mtu husema ameshindwa na kuna maana sema ameshinda na wote wanakuwa wakali, everyone anakuwa na stand yake. So kitu mimi naweza ona what I think and feel should be done ni to focus to our energy kwa elections first of all. Kenyans are so, by the way, Kenyans kitu isikudanganya ati okay we are tribal but not that tribal. Kenyans tuko united
kwa mashida.
Just come yeah, Kenyans are very united. Every time tuseme there is a fundraiser somewhere, people wakuza, they don't think about uni msapere, uni mzaka, uni mkale, uni wase contribute without any prejudice or biasness. Watu tuado.
Hold that thought. Tell me ulikuwa unaenda kusema it's something generational.
I feel like tribalism is generational. Okay, yes, because my generation, I have gone to public schools. I have had classmates from everywhere, from every tribe, and I have had friends from every tribe. I feel like and I was there during post-election violence. I saw what it did to us. And at the end of it all, it will be stupid of me to still hold on to tribal lines, yet my nearest neighbor, if there's a fire in our house, in fact my nearest neighbor is from a different tribe, will I now go look for the nearest person of my tribe, because I don't want to mention my tribe? Will I go look for the nearest person of my tribe, or will I go to my neighbor? I feel like at the end of it all, yes, BBI has given recommendations, or they add story a tribe and unity to the curriculum and ensure that people in public schools should come from everywhere in the country. They've done that and it's good, but at the end of it all, I feel like where we are at, based on our experience, I don't think we are as tribal as the previous generation.
True. Hata hizo hizo the previous generations, I won't say that tribal. Mi siwezi sema hivyo.
Bro,
because our problem ni elections. Okay.
Let me give you
ask you first. Hata nikuulize.
Okay.
At what point at what point in our country kifika every time wanasema Kenyans are very tribal?
And that's what I want to get into. I come from somewhere where people from a certain region, if you try to get someone from there, I like the idea that when sisi tunaanza kuchange your narrative na tunaanza embrace anyone from anywhere with all their backgrounds, and we are appreciating them for who they are, and we are building beautiful families and relationships together, and even businesses together. There was a time back when if you got someone from a different region, ulikuwa tu na karibu excommunicate manze, unashindwa.
Why do you think ilikuwa hivyo?
Walikuwa wameshapaint picture ya nika ki stain flani.
Why would you think tribe A wanasema tribe B si wase wazuri.
Stereotype.
Stereotypes too are culture. Let me tell you, like one of the ones that hurts us most in this country is this whole idea of feeling like someone who's not circumcised is not an equal man. Where did you get that conversation from? Yani unasikianga tu msee like the biggest insult anaweza rushia mtu mwingine ni uncircumcised. I feel like that's such a lame manze. For sure, like if you throw that to other, like oh my goodness, me feel sasa. I mean, we've stopped being civil now we are being petty and doing other stuff. Now is it stereotypes? Like it's something they've even pointed out in the report, like there are some two connotations yani na two stereotypes tumekwama na ndio tunaleta a lot of issues. I mean, you guys pointed out already from the divisive elections. That's something already that is a point there that we will talk about in length, because I feel like technology has allowed us also to get to a point where things can be free and fair. You see, last time, I mean, I have beef with the judiciary. Last time they agreed, there was an issue, but they said that issue is not big and you people didn't bring it clear, but there's an issue. And we agreed that someone can be voted in. Second time they came and they said, there are several issues now and you people have to go back. And then one of the parties decided, if we go back, it's not going to be done any better. They're going to do the same thing because it's the same people who are doing it. Remove those people who are doing it and we do it fairly. I mean, that was a conversation I could go. But the idea was there was a problem. And once you tell the people who are getting into Helm that you had a problem the way you go in, they know that you're not for them, you're against them. You think that time when they come again, these divisive elections will be there again, and they'll be like, now the problems are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So there's definitely no clarity in how things will be done. But with the presence of technology, I liked the fact that what they were tallying digitally did not relate with what was being brought on the ground physically, and that was an issue. Unajua, now there's a mode of accountability which will be more refined, and if it's not like influenced by individuals at that helm. And I mean, everything is getting to be improved, and the more we involve ourselves in it, because every time someone is being nominated for a post, you give it the opportunity to go and grill that person, bring out everything that person has done, good or bad, na kukua able kuwa stop. So divisive elections is something that can be killed very fast. Unajua, but there are these other small connotations in people's minds that are still happening, and now they are changing. I remember somewhere, like someone was giving a story how they've been able to influence elections. Cambridge wakiongea manze, Cambridge wanatumia psychological warfare sahi, hawatumi like some physical warfare. Like they can change elections based on specific things, and they gave an interesting narrative about a country where it's divided between people. Sitaki kutaja manze, nakuwa gamon janja mimi sitajagi vitu zenye zinaleta shida, but people from a certain culture really are strong on family values. And this other culture are free, independent spirits. Whatever they choose. And so this other tribe or this other culture needed to win this vote. So what did they do? Wakatuma influence to youth to awati waifanyike, ni kama we are together, put a nice slogan into it, did a whole rally. And so these other guys wakaamua, we are not voting, the system is bad. But what was going on in this other culture was, when your father or your mother tells you have to vote, haurudi kwa hiyo nyumba kama haujaekwa hiyo rangi ya blue. And that's how they won that vote. And that's how they get to influence the government of that country now. So there's a psychological point we also need to look at things now. Now that there's also clarity now when it comes to digital technology, with the reports having to be shown from the manual side and the digital side, sai kuna point yenye hadi tunaweza kaanza kuinfluence from a psychological point. Pali tunaambia msee, sio kenye kila kitu unaambiwa, you need to open up your mind to a bigger thing. And it's still lingering somewhere in this city. Tukiwa Nairobi, nothing like that happens, but if you do it uko mashinani, like hadi majirani wako wanaanza kuongea. Acha kuambia Tamia, huko kwenye unatoka ukipata mtu wa kwingine alafu uende mashinani, wasikie umetoa mtu wa huko kwingine, unajua ni story tu itaanza. Yes. And if any scuffle or any issue you have with your significant other happens, we people are quick to go back to the idea that it's your tribe that has the issue. So there are still small portions that are there that need to be fought. But I feel like they should be fought from us, where we say, there's nothing about where he's coming from. That one has a problem himself.
But Timo, those are minute.
But they come and
Things.
blow up in the end.
The
Because
bigger one is elections here. Elections blow inaifanya ikue kubwa.
good.
Time elections, that's what happen.
So let me tell you.
Explode.
Right now, there's a conversation going on of betrayal between two individuals.
But of course, that's betrayal. But of course,
I don't want to get into it.
Can I just say something on that? Just one statement.
I want to finish my statement.
Fine,
Let me
fine.
finish my statement. And this narrative is coming from a point of people feel like,
that's betrayal too.
you know, governance, rule, and leadership is only for a select few.
Yeah.
That's a narrative that is there. You can't fight it. I kid you not. If I
our main
if,
topic was BBI, right?
Okay, sure.
Even
Let's
the
go
way
back
BBI
to
is being driven. Can't you just see that betrayal?
I didn't want to get to that. The stereotype
on.
that I was bringing across
Reggae.
is this minute stuff that we think is really small is still something that is being influenced not only from a bigger space yenye tunasema ya uongozi manze ni pali hata yuanzia kutoka kwa family background because I'm getting someone from a different culture and it's not blown up in my face yet because I know nikiwa kwa city niko safe man. Place me embrace venye watu wanapendana manze, kila mtu anaweza katoka place, lakini saa zile nitaamua tu kuteremka tu mashinani. Unauliza kwa swali ya kwanza, au kuona mse yote tu hizi mamata? So ashakwambia nimeblock wase wengine wa huko. Hizi ni vitu zina happen. So hata zikikuja kwa yote ime election unapataga kuna wale wase wanafeel nika uongozi ni yao peke yao. Have we not seen it every time? We've seen it happening, and we need to change from a point where leadership cannot be chosen from a regional point. Leadership has to be chosen from qualities and values and stuff that you will bring.
If you can convince people, then
Exactly.
Yeah.
But people misrepresent themselves all the time.
Sure.
Because even as we vote for people based on our tribal lines, they won't come and tell us, vote for me because I am I am one of you.
Yeah.
They'll come and give us, oh, this is what I plan to do. Oh, this is what I plan to do. But at the end of it all, when they get the seats, wanaturuka.
Number one, si uanzangana una vote atakwambia Kenya atadu, lakini inategemea na ile party yenye ana stay. I mean hiyo ni kitu yenye clear. I mean kuna mse najua for sure alienda akaniambia mimi nikiingia hii election, when did we vote last? 2017. Kuna mse aliniambia anaenda tu kuandika 6 piece ilikuwa statement say 6 piece, hata utaki kujua ni nani yako kwa hiyo piece yako, unafanya tu 6 piece umalize. Wewe unaingia kama umeenda tu kuchora specific thing. And so I mean even when we talk every time I say we need to start this conversation where from the grassroots you know who your member of county assembly is, because that's your first point of government, that's your first base, like who will change and who you will feel your impact with what the government is doing. And if you put anyone to there just because you are doing 6 piece, najua tu alikuwa nakujia tu affiliation. Like he will buy his people. I mean, we've seen people buying their nomination in this country. Umse anapewa direct nomination for nothing.
Yeah, just because they've contributed financially.
Yeah, ukicontribute unapatiwa nomination kwa sababu unajua the seat. Whether you get it or not, utakuwa umeshaanza kugain influence yako. Hatukuona mtu mwingine hapa juzi akipata tu mileage all of a sudden ametoka tu out of nowhere amepata mileage juu amepewa direct nomination. Sio ati naongea vitu zenye hazi happen.
Yeah.
So I mean the divisiveness inaanzia tu mbali sana. Watu wana need kuchange narrative pali inaanzia. Yeah. Na Zach lazima ajue hizi vitu. So I am for sure like Peter, things are happening kwa grau zenye zinasema these small connotations are still being used from a larger scope when you come to other stuff. And we can't just stand on the background and say that ziko kwa umbali, haziko at the core. Later on they come and influence a lot of things, because when they now lose an argument, that's where you hear someone come up with a stereotype like ati uncircumcised men. Sazila amelose argument yake, sazila umemwekelea facts zote, anaenda kutumia psychological warfare.
Yeah.
So things need to start to change. I mean, okay, so we covered one of the points, which was divisive elections. So we need to cover all the rest now when it comes to all the 8, if we're going to do all the conversations. But let me hear what you guys have to add on.
One of the things stated in the BBI document is that Kenya has a software problem and not a hardware problem. And I think that's basically what we've been saying, because at the end of it all, who we will vote for, and like just all our issues like just start from like the ground, you know. I have a small sister, like, and you see she plays with neighbors, and you see neighbors are from everywhere, like every tribe in Kenya. And on a random day, she came to ask me, Tamia, what tribe are we? And I was so shocked. Uni mtoto ako 5 years old, you know. Ametoa hiyo story wapi? It's cause one of the children waliambiwa na the parents, people of a certain tribe are like this. So, you know, they will repeat that and they will repeat that. And at the end of it all, hata mimi, nimeambiwa na other adults, ati, what community do you come from? Because you see, I don't look like the community that I am from. So when I tell people that I am from this community, they're like, Hukai, you know, like you get some certain treatments, you know, you had been welcomed warmly until you tell them that I am from a certain tribe. Ama you get your parents telling you, you can pick whoever you want, lakini you just have to be careful about, you see, at the end of it all, this problem starts from the ground, like software problem. And yeah, we have mentioned what happens at the ground. Now the issue is, what do we do? Because laws have been implemented.
Exactly.
Laws have been implemented. The 2/3 gender rule has been implemented. There's a word for it, I don't remember, such that if I come to your company and all of you are from a certain tribe, you know, that's an issue.
Balance.
No, sijui inaitwa nini, like okay, I don't know, but
najua nyinyi ndio mnafanya vitu za law alafu mkikosa kujua mnafanya show ikaefani bana ni nini nyinyi.
Mwenye represent akona more legal knowledge like kama tampea. Okay, but this is a random question, very very random, and something I think about as an employer when I'm holding interviews and people come from different places. What if the qualified people come from one tribe?
From one tribe.
Like the people from one tribe are more qualified than the other. What happens then? Yet I'm supposed to you know, have a diverse.
Pause kwanza, acha kwanza nisikie Peter Kenya anataka kusema. Peter anataka kusema kitu.
On that.
No, before jibu hiyo swali. Hiyo swali tutajibu.
Mimi, by the way, all this thing me bado tuna insist on elections, man. If elections were free and fair and kila mse agree on the results, believe me, we won't be talking about Kenya being tribal, Kenyans being tribal or such.
We see it even in football matches.
Again, hiyo nitakujibu tu.
Na attack producer.
Yeah? Like if elections zingekuwa free and fair, hata tukue na, even if you were to expand the executive, tukue na 3 presidents and 60 prime ministers.
Gosh.
And elections bado inaibiwa, believe you my friend, kutakuwa na bloodshed. If not bloodshed, people watakuwa na feel aggrieved. Mtu atakuwa na anger, hatred towards the other person for no good reason. Elections is our main problem. If only we'd focus on elections and we had a very strong body that haiwezi kuwa swayed anyhow na hold a credible elections and the constitution ikwe followed, such discussions as zingekuwa very minimal. So my point ni elections tu bado.
Okay.
I don't see the point of having a prime minister's post as proposed kwa BBI. I don't see the need. First of all, kwanza anakuwa selected na the president.
But it's from among the voted in MPs. The plasma chague from among the people that have already been voted in as MPs.
Ebu make it clear for me kidogo. Hata nikuulize. Sema mimi na Timo we are vying, then nishindwe. Nishindwe. Maybe unfairly. Let me say unfairly. Timo ashindwe.
Yaani mimi ndo nimekaa tu kufanya ushindi. Yaani sitakuwa poa.
I'm not in parliament, sijakuwa elected as president. I feel aggrieved. And truly if uangalie the trend vile election imekuwa held, you'd say kusema kweli Peter Evans nikaa ameibiwa. Then I marshal my people tukue every Monday tuko streets or Tuesday or Wednesday or Sunday or any day si tuko streets kila tumemake tuko kwa streets people wanakuwa tear gas Monday. I'm trying to copy something so tukue na stuff ka hizo and kusema kweli if you look at it nikani imeibiwa. President Timua amekuwa elected, Timua ashakuwa sworn in, Timua amechoose prime minister kutoka kwa the National Assembly who appears hiyo kitu the BBI report is funny. Inasema president anafaa choose prime minister from the party yenye iko na majority members of parliament, na kama the members of parliament wote wako same achague prime minister from party yenye inakaa iko na support ya MPs wengi. Anyway,
like they're good.
So how will you determine umse anakaa kuna support?
Some people go to parliament, they vote. So if speaker anasema those who are
awajasema I'm using the exact terms wamesema mwenye anapia to have acha ni kujibu tena hiyo site umesema ati they will vote mtu mwenye akona
like amongst the members of parliament
mwenye akona amongst the parliament. So mi swali yangu ni Timua ashakuwa sworn in. Mi bado na feel aggrieved sijakuwa elected prime minister, I'm not included.
So BBI has provided for that. It has provided for that. Wamesema the running mate, the runners up in the presidential election will become an ex-official member of parliament.
Sijakubali uza get point yangu. Sijakubali nimeshindwa. I've take watu wangu ninakuwa nao street every Monday or Tuesday.
As long as the president has been sworn in, there's nothing you can do.
So unaona it has solved the problem. It has not solved the problem.
Yes, it has not solved
because
the problem.
I've given you a scenario that election imekuwa sham.
Yeah.
That's a scenario in election.
So you take it to court before 14 days before he's sworn in, but when the court decides that it was a free and fair election and the president has been sworn in, there's nothing you can do.
Now my point is you guys get my point. My point is we should strengthen our electoral system. That I began by saying that our electoral system inafaa ikuwe strengthened, that people in that office cannot be swayed in one way or another. Tunafaa tukue na people of integrity, watu wenye and another thing is respect your constitution, because if say the electoral body which is current IBC ikwe ime hold an election let's say ikwe sham, no? Then nimeenda court or that person mwenye amefeel ameibiwa aende court, yeah? The court rule, for example, this is something that happened. I'm trying to be real as possible. Wakwe ordered wafungue server, they refuse. Now you see such kind of things.
Yeah.
So our problem ni one, respect the rule of law, na ifuatiliwe vile inafaa ifuatiliwe, na hizi electoral system iko pia a good electoral system yenye tunaweza kuwa na nitumie term gani that we believe in, unaona, that everyone yenye as we go to every election we should have a referee when both players, both the party A and party B and the independent candidates wanakubali, wanasema yenyewe this is a body that we can all trust, outcome yake iko poa. So that's my problem is elections. Na kwa elections nimejaribu kuibroaden, nikasema the electoral body and the rule the judiciary.
So it just
now
needs
whatever the decision judiciary imetoa ikwe followed, because at the end of the day if hakuna mse ana respect the rule of law then hiyo ni anarchy.
Yeah.
If for example nikatae kufollow what the judiciary wamerule about, then what will we be doing? Mtu mwingine atafuata the same orders and such. Nothing. Yeah.
All right.
So hiyo ndio miche nafikiria.
All right. I mean, we can cover this. I see we are out of time, and we've definitely covered a bit more on divisive elections and how they become divisive, and I mean, Peter is vocal about divisive elections and how the electoral body needs to be like free, fair, and independent, like not aligned to any affiliations. I wanna say something so that as you're gonna finish for us like Tamia, and then we're just gonna do some random lessons for the day that we wanna do. I was trying to research ni pate pali nilikuwa. So there's this system in the Netherlands, there's no ruling party in the Netherlands, like over 150 seats in parliament, and there's no one who has a clear majority when it comes to the votes. And so what they have done, the president now is called Mr. I don't know how to pronounce it in Ecuador, like Ruta or some. He's a prime minister there. There's a system that they have made there, or that works for the Dutch, that is called polder model, which is like land reclamation. It's the equivalent of saying land reclamation from the sea. What they did a lot, they're good at making dikes. And so the approach is just for the prime minister now to ensure that he works with all these other parties in parliament to form a ruling coalition. And the one thing that, like, the statement that is always said anytime you're trying to find that ruling coalition is for the good of the Dutch. It's never for individual benefit. And so he has to work. He's a minimalist. Like, everybody is now, like, there are people who are starting to grow like resentment towards him because he's very popular and he does so many things. Like, he's a minimalist. Like, anaanza the popular vote yake yani inakuanga tu ikiendelea kugrow constantly. But umse ame form an approach that I enjoy a lot, even when people agree and disagree and we don't have like majority having to work together. Ama nime like, but mi sitatumia underhand. We wacha umenituma nika nitaiba vote na mi si wako. Mi hata sitafuti kura tuanzia hapo. But at the end of the day, where miss.
By the way, for now.
Acheni bana. So let me finish with what happens. Every time they have to find a consensus, and every time the consensus is, it might not be working for your party now, but let's do this for the good of the Dutch. And you have to work with the agenda that has been put forward. And I feel like that's where, when it comes to divisive elections, we have to also play our part as Kenyans. Tuseme enye saa zingine tunaenda tu kama tumefunga macho, tunaamua mimi napiga tu tick za ile vitu, but hatu working na the community ama the agenda that we feel is right. Ukiuliza mtu like, what would you want to be seen, like the conversation constantly inakuanga barabara sijui nini, like hauendangi beyond that. Hata useme in your community unataka nini ifanywe Kenya, makazi ziongezwe, barabara nini, but ukiulizwa unataka ifanywe nini kwa hudi yenyu, hata ujui manze. So we need to work from a point of its agendas, and that's when we'll see a lot more independent candidates winning elections, maybe people from different parties which are considered minorities actually earning seats in parliament because they actually push for an agenda. There's so many smaller people, like small parties that are out there that people run with, and others that do it from an independent point. And I feel like as Kenyans, we need to start taking charge of who we put in that seat. And at the end of the day, even if we disagree and we don't work on the same thing, at the end of the day, it's for the good of every Kenyan. And that's what basically works in the Dutch. Like, he has constantly to find a consensus, even when it comes to bills and matters. At times, hata wenye amefind ati wa work na yeye kwa ruling party hawa agree na yeye. So hata ikifika kwa bills ana have kurudi kutafuta kwingine, asema kujeni bana, nimetengeneza kitu nataka isaidie, na kuna wenye hawa agree na ni vizuri. Siwezi I hate right now that we don't have an opposition in our country, because inamaanisha tumeamua lean towards side ya benefits for individuals. Unajua, there has to be every time an opposition, which puts you at a point of lazima ucontest, lazima ujue kwa atpa. Producer kuna venye utahave kuedit tu work na mimi, kwa sababu Tamia lazima amalizie na kitu aseme. Because alikuwa na represent our other host for today, who's Elsie. By the way, unakuja kama umelipa fine, useme pale ulikuwa, na unataka kujenga Kenya lakini hauko hapa, unajengea Kenya ukiwa mbali.
Anajenga from the grassroots as you have a
leo ndio tumemtuma grassroots. Okay, Tamia.
Yes.
As we conclude, man, because this conversation is not over. We have 8 more ways to go. I don't feel like we've even covered enough when it comes to divisive elections. There's more that can be said, but we need to be very intentional with how we put these pillars out and how we make sure that Zach is and stick to us na bado ana to get. What would you say?
Mbona unasema Zach na kuna msichana hapo?
Tutatafuta jina ya Zach. Tukianza hiyo ni venye Zach tunde tulipata hiyo siku. Tutatafuta. Wewe tuambie jina ya msichana. Wewe ndio uta invent jina ya msichana.
There's a lot that I can say. There's a lot that can be said. I'd like to challenge what Peter said, but hatuna time. So Timo, itabidi mni-invite siku ingine to argue tena. But so this is any conclusion to natoa points zingine. Yes, at the end of it all, this is our country, and we have to be proud to be Kenyan. We have to our national pride should be greater than our tribal pride, because at the end of it all, for the greater good, we are a country. We're not just a specific tribe. So yes, be proactive.
Our national
be proactive.
pride.
I hope Timo told you what being proactive means. Labda kuambia
wewe cheki kama hujasikiza episode 1 hivi ndio tunakufinding out.
Nitasikiza episode 1. But at the end of it all, we have to be proactive. We can't wait for manna from heaven. We have to take it. So
wait, hold up. Our national pride has to be bigger than our
tribal pride.
Yeah. Hiyo ndio quote ya leo. Mtu wangu kuna quote ya leo. Tukimalizia.
Kabisa, lazima nijipange.
Piga kitu bana. Mimi napenda ukipiga quote bana.
Okay, mimi nilikuwa nataka kusema tu there's a guy into Steven Dates. Mtu mwerevu sana. Okay, before I say what he said, I just want to bring it in this context that Kenyans hii stuff tuko nayo BBI tunafaa to scrutinize. Everyone akona opinion yake. But the thing that stand out is it's either we are being betrayed as Kenyans by our leaders or they're doing something for us. Either way, tunafaa tusome hii BBI and we make our decisions based on what tumesoma, si chenye tumeambiwa. Then kama ni betrayal, Steven Date said that there's nothing painful as betrayal. It's even better you die than kukua betrayed, because being betrayed, you'd lose hope about everything. So Kenyans, in mimi kufikiria kwangu, we are being betrayed, and BBI is something that tunafaa tuisome poa, to scrutinize, and our main focus in afai elections. And that's what the problem tumekuwa nayo. Mina log out.
For sure, man. Producer, pole tumekupatia kazi leo ya kutu edit hapo ukijaribu kutengeneza tufike time. But the show has been proactive. We're going to cover more, the 8 more parts that we have on the report. Let's take time. Let's talk about what they have said. These pillars are good and they are for us, but they're not going to be championed by individuals. Nisi tutazifanya si wenyewe. Sindio? All right.